Good morning, team. Welcome to the Lean Six Sigma White Belt webinar. Uh, we are starting with the presentation. Now, let me introduce myself. I'm Praveen Halkikar. I have 20 plus years of industrial experience. Uh, Actually, I have worked with different processes from starting from casting, machining, plastic molding, painting, heat treatment, and assembly. I've worked with all the automotive OEMs as a supplier. And uh, talking about my credentials, I'm a certified Six Sigma Black Belt from ASQ, certified Lean Implementer by Lean Institute. I'm a lead auditor for IITF 16949, ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and 45001, certified VDS 6.3 process auditor, certified VDS 6.5 product auditor. I'm into core tools training. Also, I have been conducting audits related to code of conduct, that is social compliance audits. So this is all about me. Today, there's one more guest speaker is with me, Mr. Greg Naidu. Uh, he is actually, uh, I'll introduce him in one line that he has got 28 plus years of experience, and he has worked with Toyota. Toyota Motors is a benchmark company in quality, Japanese. He has worked with Toyota Japan and then Toyota South Africa. So he had joined us from Durban, South Africa. Currently, he is having his own company, Impact Solutions, and he is a trainer for Kaizen and Lean practices. After having so much of experience in working with benchmark company, his passion is to give it back to the society, and so he is joining us as a guest speaker. So after my presentation, he will continue talking about his own experiences. So before we start this presentation, I would like to show you one video, which is very, very important video aspect, wherein here you will understand the why we need to be quality conscious, why we should be uh, having each and every problem we should take seriously, and what are our quality principles we should follow. So let's see this video and then we'll continue our presentation. I hope screen is visible, and you can see now one quote wherein it is written, quality can mean the difference between excellence and disaster. Just anyone can just, you can raise your hand or thumbs up so that I understand you are following me and you are able to see my screen. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just playing this video. It is a 4.5 minutes video. So we are starting with quality can mean the difference between excellence and disaster. There is nothing like 99.99% okay. And that's what Six Sigma talks about. We are going to discuss this in detail because that 0.01% can cause disasters. And let's talk about this video. Okay, just watch it and let me know if you are able to hear the sound as well.
అయిపోయిందా
Yeah, I understand there was no audio, uh, but the message is clear. I believe everyone has understood what is the message from the video. We could see uh, there were three case studies. One is from first one was from NASA, second one was from Toyota, and third one was British Petroleum. So these are the three case studies we have seen in this particular video, and we try to understand that what are the issues uh, related to quality, right? So why do we need improvement? Why it is required that we should keep on improving, keep on doing, keep on continual improvements, continuous improvement. So you can see this is a actually chain of causation. So first is our survival is dependent upon growing the business. Okay. If business is not growing or business is stopped, our survival will be in danger. Then business growth is largely determined by the customer satisfaction. If your customers are happy, they will come to you, they will give you business, they will grow your business. So customer satisfaction is governed by quality, cost, and delivery. These are the three parameters which are most important to in terms of customer satisfaction is considered. And then these particular three things, cost, quality, and delivery, are controlled by process capability. And process capability is limited by variation. So these are we are trying to understand the root cause analysis. Here we are talking about root cause analysis. You can see here, I'll just take out my pen. Okay. So business is dependent on the customer satisfaction. Then you are asking customer satisfaction is governed by these three parameters: quality, price, and delivery. Then this is controlled by process capability. Process capability is related to, we are talking about variation in terms of quality, variation in terms of pricing, variation in terms of delivery. This variation leads to increase in, if you have variation, you will have defects, cost will be different each time, and then your cycle time will be more or less kind of thing. So you have got three parameters which are directly leading it to quality, price, and delivery. Then to eliminate the variation or to reduce the variation, we must apply the right knowledge. Okay, if you don't have the right knowledge, you may not able to reduce the variation. Then for having right knowledge, you must acquire it. And this is your first step. You're acquiring this particular knowledge, right? And to acquire new knowledge, we must have the will to survive. So again, we are going back to this, our survival. So first is will to survive, and this survival, again, it's a cycle. Okay. So this is all about our survival. If we are not improving, it is for individual, person, organizations, everyone. Now we are talking about organization. So let's go ahead with the history of Six Sigma. Okay. So history, if we talk about Six Sigma, is this is developed by Bill Smith, who was working with Motorola as a quality manager. They started implementation in 1987, and they won the first Baldrige Award in 1988. So 85 to 92, we can say there is a uh, then Six Sigma started taking a shape. Then few refinements in 93, 94. Mostly you can see the names Isia Brown Bowery, then Allied Signal, General Electric, all these are US companies. They started implementing Six Sigma. Then in 1996, 97, mobile phones, Nokia, Bombardier, CB, all these companies started implementing. 97, 98, new technology adapted and enlightenment happened in 99 to 2005. So currently, it is being used in most of the industries, including academics, then pharma, medical, lot of different specific sectors are using this particular uh, methodology to improve their processes. So, what are the Six Sigma belts? Okay, so you might be hearing about yellow belt, green belt, black belt. What are these belts? So, it is the nomenclature used to uh, give you a specific understanding. In this case, you can see here it starts from white belt. It's a pyramid actually. White belt is what? So you are understanding basic concepts of Lean Six Sigma from an awareness perspective. You know what is this particular methodology is, right? So white belt today we are going to understand just what is Six Sigma, what is Lean, and then there's a next stage that is yellow belt. In yellow belt, what you do is actually you participate in process improvement projects as a team member. So you will become a team member of a specific project, improvement project, wherein you are contributing to that particular improvement. Here, what we do is it is 8 hours training, wherein we give detailed training of methodology, that is DMAIC methodology, plus what kind of tools we use in all these phases of define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So that, and then 7QC tools, which kind of tools we can use, primary tools, is training is given in this particular, mostly 8 hours. And then green belt, actually, in green belt, you lead an improvement project. So, and you assist black belt with data collection and analysis. You are helping black belt. So, green belt, you are taking some kind of small projects in your company and improving. Black belt is actually a full-time guy who is leading the black belt projects, and he is giving training and coaching the team members, green belts and yellow belts. Master black belt he has like a functioning at a program level, and he is acting as a Lean Six Sigma technologist, or you can say he is an internal consultant for improvement projects. And champions is who has got authority. He is giving you complete freedom, resources. He is translating the company's vision, mission, and goals, and he is helping the master black belt or black belt to implement this particular methodology. So champion is, you can say, anyone from CEO, top management, director, or managing director kind of thing. So let's understand what is Six Sigma. Okay. So Six Sigma is a statistical concept that represents how much variation there is in a process relative to customer set specifications. Okay. Sigma value is based on defects per million opportunities. We call it PPM, DPMO, defects per million opportunities. And Six Sigma is equivalent to 3.4 DPMO. The variation in the process is so small that resulting products and services are 99.99966% defect free. Only 3.4 defects per million may occur. This is what is the meaning of Six Sigma equivalent process. Okay, here you can see the amount of variation in
it's fine.
Six Sigma. So too much variation, Sigma value is like 0 to 2 if you have too much variation. Moderate variation, it is moderate, 3 to 5 sigma level is moderate variation. So currently, if you take any industry on an average, it will be in 3 to 4 sigma level company. And the Six Sigma is very little variation. Virtually all output meets customer specification. That is called Sigma Six Sigma process. Okay. So it is all about variation. So you take any human activity, it has got variability. Variation is natural. There is nothing like zero, right? Perfection is illusion. Okay. There's nothing called perfect. In this is all about uh, we call it like only God is perfect, right? So perfection is illusion. We need to this is my favorite quote. So we have to keep on improving, right? So every human activity, because we are humans and we cannot produce zero zero. So you can see here there is a customer specification, and this is the data and bell curve. This is the target, and whatever is going out of the customer specification is called as defect. So we want to reduce the variation. So reducing variability is the key in understanding Six Sigma concept. Okay, what we need to do is you can see here, this is the spread of particular process. Take any, it is related to quality, cost, and delivery. If you are failing in delivery, you need to see what is the delivery time, what is the lead time, what is the cycle time, and then collect the data. If it is related to cost, you need to check pricing every time, how you are placing the putting the prices. So all everything has got some kind of variation, and this is your customer specification. If it is going beyond the customer specification, it is called as defect. So we are reduction in variation is the goal of Six Sigma. We'll just talk about an example. Parking car in the garage has got a variability, right? So you can see here, there is a shed, car shed, right? Garage, wherein you are parking your car. And if it has got a specification, right? If we park in this particular lines, this is customer specification, then there is no issue. But if you park in beyond these lines, there will be some kind of scratches, or you may face some issues while uh, putting the car into the garage, or taking it out from the garage. So, so this is our process. This is customer specification, and we need to be on target every time, right? So centering, process centering. So this is what is Six Sigma. So reduce the variation, make it so small that there will not be any problem in case of, you can see here. So three sigma process, three standards. A sigma is standard deviation. Standard deviation fit between target and spec. So this is actually a three sigma process. Okay, this is three sigma process. That means from your target line to your customer specification, three standard deviations are considered. So in this case, there are defects. You're producing defects in three sigma process. You're producing defects. But if you are a Six Sigma process, what you're doing, your variation earlier, this was your variation, right? Bell curve, you can see here. So you have reduced it to this much. So now what has happened? Your process variation is here only, but your customer specification is here. So what is happening? No defects. So no defects in this particular process. This is what is required. So simple thing is we need to go from this to this, 3 sigma to 6 sigma. And what we did is we have reduced the variation from this to this. The bell curve is changed. The spread has reduced. Variation has reduced. We can improve the process by reducing the variability. Okay. So we started with what's wrong with 99% quality. We started with this discussion. We saw three case studies, and one small issue can lead to a lot of uh, problems or disasters, you can say. So it is 99% good is 3.8 sigma process. Okay, if we calculate the defects and all. So if you are producing 99% good quality, that means you are at 3.8 sigma level. Okay, 3.8 sigma. What will happen? So, this mail is uh, courier articles or, post articles, 20,000 articles. If we are saying 99% good, that means 20,000 articles of mail lost per hour. Okay, unsafe drinking water for almost 15 minutes each day is 99% good. 5,000 incorrect surgical operations per week, 91% is like this much will have. Two short or long landings at most major airports each day is 99% good. 2 lakh wrong drug prescriptions dispensed each year. So these many issues you'll face if you say 99% good. And this is Six Sigma, wherein we are talking about Six Sigma process.
ये मैं
So
रिकॉर्डिंग का चालू है
same process from 20,000, it will go to 7 articles. Okay. Unsafe drinking water situation will be coming down from 15 minutes to 1 minute every 7 months. Okay. So you can see the difference numbers, how it is changing. So Six Sigma process is, we are talking about very, very small errors, very, very smallest part will go to customer with a defect. Otherwise, everything is good. So this is the main difference between the process. Now we'll try to understand the Six Sigma methodology. Okay. So as I said, DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, and improve and control. DMAIC. This method is used to improve the current capabilities of an existing process. This is by far the most commonly used methodology of Six Sigma improvement teams. So DMAIC. There is one more process called DMADV. Define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. So this actually DMADV is used in design process. Okay. So you want to create a completely new process, new product, new service for customers, then you can use this particular methodology. Okay. So this is also called as DFSS. DFSS is design for Six Sigma. So while designing only, you are creating such a process or such a product which will have only 3.4 ppm defects. Okay. So this is how you are designing. And DMAIC is used for improvement projects. Okay. So this is our DMAIC methodology. Okay. Define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So in define, you identify, prioritize, and select the right projects. Measure, you identify the key product characteristics, process characteristics, parameters, understand process, and then measure performance. It is all about measure process. In analyze, you talk about analyzing the causes of problems. Then you determine how the process is working. So in analysis phase, you try to find out the root causes. Okay. And after finding out root causes, you create an action plan, which is implemented in improve phase. And then in control phase, you are trying to hold the gains. So whatever you have done in all these phases and improved the process, you are just trying to hold these gains, sustain the improvements. This is what you do in control phase. So it is called as DMAIC methodology. Now, we'll talk about, there are two, three things, most of the companies are using uh, Six Sigma. Few companies are using Six Sigma methodology. Then few companies say, no, we use lean thinking. And there are certain companies who are using TOC methodology, theory of constraints. Okay. So these three popular methodologies for improvements is being used. So you can see here, objective of Six Sigma is reduce the variation. Okay. Lean thinking talks about remove the waste, and theory of constraint, that is TOC, is working on manage the constraints. So methodology is define, measure, analyze, improve, control. We discussed about DMAIC. In lean thinking, what we do is we identify the value. We identify value stream mapping, which is called as VSM. Okay. Then we talk about flow, single piece flow we need, that is expectation of lean. And then it is based on pull thing. Pull is what customer is asking, then only you are producing. So this is pull thinking. And then continuous improvement. This is the lean thinking. Keep on improving. Here, Six Sigma is problem focused. So if you have a problem, identify it and then work on it. Here, lean thinking is focused on flow. So how we are managing our production. And theory of constraint is focused on constraint. What is the bottleneck? So keep on identifying bottleneck. Constraint is what? Bottleneck. This is a bottle. Sorry. And this is the bottleneck. So if you have a process which is like this is the process flow, you will have problem with this neck. So that neck you need to identify and work on that, widen the neck, and flow will be simplified or flow will be easy. Okay. So this is how these three major things currently in practice. So I'll talk about lean now. Uh, lean is uh, lean is originated at Toyota with the Toyota production system. Toyota, the you know the ideas were formulated by Sakichi Toyota in the 1920s and 30s, but only made the leap to full implementation in the 1950s. Many of the principles of lean came from a surprising source, American supermarket, where small quantities of a vast selection of inventories replenished as a customers pull them off the shelf. So the idea is coming from supermarkets, American supermarkets. We'll talk about lean principles. Determine and create the value. What does the customer want? And for what he is paying you. Okay. Okay. Then use pull instead of push systems to avoid overproduction. So produce only when customer is saying, I need this particular product. Inventories has got a lot of issues. They hide the problems and efficiencies. So we need to be very careful in production. So lean is saying one piece flow, single piece flow. Make the work flow so that there is no interruptions and no wasted time or material. Then eliminate the 7 speed bumps caused by waste, non-value added activities, and use the 5 whys. 5 whys is why analysis. Okay. And then Six Sigma problem solving to eliminate defects. So this is problem focused approach. You can Kaizen, then you can use 8D, why analysis, fishbone diagram to identify the root causes, and then implement the corrective actions for the root causes. So this is a 60-second test. Two numbers are missing in this particular, you can see here 1 and 49. In 1 and 49, there are two numbers missing. You need to find out which numbers are missing in this particular picture. You can write it down on your chat box. So your time starts now. See which numbers are missing from 1 to 49. Don't go beyond 49. Just see from 1 to 49 which numbers are missing. You have 60 seconds to find out, and you can just put it in the chat box which numbers are missing. Good. I could see few messages are coming in. There are two numbers missing in this particular picture. Everyone, please, encouraging so that this will also help me understand everyone is there and following me. Good. I could see few answers here in chat box. Very good. Good, good. But most of these answers are wrong. Okay. So good. 1 and 49. 1 and 49. Most repeated answer might be team is looking at chat box, not on the picture. Okay, team, shall we continue because we have limited time and I want Mr. Greg to speak on this lean principles and all. So shall we continue now? Chat box, few participants are already given their choices 1 and 49. Okay, team. So lean is required for this particular, you can see here. So this is why lean is required. 1 and 49 is there in the picture. Missing is 18 and 42. These are the two numbers missing from the picture. The right answer is, I don't know if anyone has uh, given the answer, or and it is not expected that you understand because this is a mess, right? This is a mess. Correct? You may not understand. You can see here there is a one number. Okay, correct? And this is 49. Okay, team. So this 18, so you need to organize. And which tool we use? You can put it into the chat box. Which tool we should use to do all these things? I'm expecting answers from all of you. Just put it into the chat box. Your answer should come into the chat box. Which tool, which lean tool is being used in industry for these kind of thinking? Anyone? Very good, very good, very good. Good answer. So few people are saying 5 years success. Okay, good. Let's talk about that. Okay. So antidote to the West is, it is okay. Antidote to West is the 5S. 5S. What are the 5S? Anyone? First is sort, second is set and order, shine, standardize, and sustain. These are the five English words. Actually, Japanese words are also there. But just to understand, sort it out, set in order, shine, clean it, okay, and standardize, develop a system, procedures to monitor the conformance to above three rules, and then sustain it. Sustain is what? You are trying to maintain a stable system. So here you can see and standardize the Six Sigma's define and measure phase is coming into the picture. And in sustain, Six Sigma's analyze, improve, and control phases are coming into the picture. Okay, for 5 years. Lean thinking is, there are three kind of production systems are there. One is craftsmanship. Craftsmanship is what? We are purchasing jewelries, right? Jewelry is a craftsmanship. So a skilled person has to do that particular jewelry. So it has a task focused production system. Mastery. Someone is making kind of antique piece, or so that is all about craftsmanship.
Now we're
A
going to
master driven process. Mass production is wherever we are seeing it as a batch production. There are queues and we have got a lot of inventories, and we are producing it in batches and sending it to customer. And lean thinking is we are focusing on customer, we are focusing on flow. Only when customer is saying I need this much, no inventories, we are producing that much. We are checking out value addition, non-value adding activities, and removing the non-value adding activities. And it is a worker-driven continuous improvement process. So everyone has to be involved in this particular lean thinking approach. So there are 8 types of waste. So in your company, you need to see these particular waste. First is transport. No customer is paying you for transportation, moving people here and there for material, for information, for tooling. So all this comes under this particular transport. So you need to uh, check this. Then inventory is a waste. Motion of people that does not add any value to the product. Waiting of people, machines, materials, information we are waiting for is the best. Overproduction, doing things earlier or faster than the next process needs, is overproduction. Overprocessing, that means effort that add no value to the service from the customer's viewpoint. Maybe you are producing maybe a machining part, and customer is asking plus minus zero point 0.1 tolerance, but you are producing it on a CNC wherein you are giving it in plus minus 10 micron. It is all about over processing. You need not to do it. Then defects, whatever defects you are producing is waste, and skill is not utilizing the people's expertise, experience, skills, knowledge, and creativity is all about waste. So for just for understanding, you can use this word for 8 types of team woods: transport, inventory, motion, waiting, overprocessing, overproduction, defects, and skills. Okay. And this is all about synergy of lean and Six Sigma. We discussed about lean. Lean reduces non-value added steps. So we are talking about value, creating the value. So if you have less steps in your process, you will have good output, good uh, yield of the process. And Six Sigma improves the quality of value added steps, right? So it is all about variation. So you can see here, these are the steps here. If you go by this, less steps, and then your process, how much is the yield? Okay. So Lean Six Sigma is Six Sigma improves the effectiveness by eliminating the defects, that is, improves the quality, and Lean improves the efficiency by eliminating the delay and waste. Okay, so it is all about efficiency. Okay, now the Six Sigma efforts. Now we have this terminology, Lean Six Sigma. So currently we are so Lean is different and Six Sigma is different, but we are using both and we are creating the system. So this is all about my presentation. Now I would like to introduce you to Mr. Greg, who has got a great experience in Lean and he has worked with Toyota. So let me, Greg, sir, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Praveen, I'm here.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
I'm just stopping my presentation now and would like you to switch on your camera so that everyone can see you.
The host should allow me to start
Really?
it. I think it's the
No,
setting on your side, Praveen.
I believe everyone others are doing it. So you should also should be able to do it. Can you please check?
All right.
Ah, yes. Yes, yes. We
There
can
we are.
see it. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
So, team, I request Mr. Greg to give his introduction first. Greg, we would like to know about you and your experience. So, please go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Praveen, and thanks for the opportunity to share this experience and, of course, get everybody to understand what Lean Six Sigma is all about. My journey at Toyota South Africa started in 1990. So for the remainder of those 28 years, it spanned working at Toyota South Africa and in Toyota Japan, where I was involved in design. As a very young man, I started in design, moved into quality, product engineering, cost planning, and then later on into project management. Of course, has started off as a young production or component engineer, and then moved into management and then into senior management. So over those 28 years, and spent here in South Africa, Toyota, and of course in Toyota Japan.
Great, Greg, sir. I can tell you we are honored to host you on this particular meeting, and most of the people are these Indian team members who have joined our webinar are from most of them are from automotive industry, and we are curious about knowing about more about Toyota culture, Toyota production system,
Yeah.
because Toyota is a company wherein we have been uh, hearing about their quality standards, culture, Japanese culture, and all. So it will be great if you share some kind of experience from Japan when you were there in Toyota Japan. You started your career in Toyota Japan. So what is the difference? How do you look at Japanese culture or Toyota culture, Toyota way, I would say?
Yeah. No, thanks. I started off, worked for many years here in South Africa, but working over those years here in South Africa, we worked a lot with the Japanese. And of course, as a young man on my first design trip to Japan, I sat next to a Chinese guy on the airplane, and we sat and we chatted. And I think he started to see how nervous I was as a young man going into Japan on a design project, because here was I, kind of with not much experience, but I was asked by my company to go and represent South Africa at a design level. And so the Chinese gentleman read my palm. He was a palm reader. And he says, you must never be afraid of the Japanese, or don't feel intimidated. And I said, that's interesting. Perhaps he had picked it up during that part of our conversation. But he says the Japanese are very efficient in what they do. And I guess we all know that. They are very good at what they do because everything works the way it should be. And I think that's the most important things that we pick up from them. But the culture is based on a concept of Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. And interweaved in this concept of Kaizen, it's integrated into their life. It's not just a work issue. It's not just it affects work, it affects life. And so they integrate it very successfully into everything in what they do. So they're very shy people, and you'll find that unlike the Chinese or other cultures, the Japanese don't travel much because it's considered a kind of an insult to not speak your local language. So they'd rather not say anything. So that's the reason why they keep to themselves. Beautiful country. But during the time that I was there, I found that one of their abilities, apart from this concept of Kaizen that comes through very, very strongly in everything what they do, meaning that they look at everything with an idea or an eye of how do I do things better? Or how can I make things better? So Toyota South Africa trains up 6,000 people to come to work every day to solve problems. They don't build cars. Individually, they don't build cars. Collectively, as a team, they'll build a car. But an individual comes to work to solve a problem. And one of the key things I learned from the Japanese is bad news first. It's a very counterculture to Western sort of thinking, where we want to hide things underneath the carpet and not escalating when things go wrong. And this is why we don't take opportunities to improve ourselves, because we are afraid of raising up our hands to say something went wrong. And I think that's a key point I learned from the Japanese, is that escalate when things are going wrong or when we identify risk early. I think the ability to identify risk is a natural inbred characteristics of human. When a little kid is at the table and there's a glass of water at the table, we run across the room, we take the glass and we move it towards the center of the table because we recognize risk. Somehow we forget that when we come into a work sort of environment, because we don't recognize risk early enough. And we have that ability and we have that tendency to kind of just forget about it because our day is so busy with a whole lot of other things. The other thing I learned about the Japanese is that apart from looking at things with a strong mentality of continuously improving it, with the ability to work strongly as a team, they also respect one another very strongly. Their culture is about respect. It's at the time of an earthquake, when you go to a shop, they will take one loaf of bread and walk out. They don't take 4 loaves of bread. It's a reason, because if they take 4, 3 other families or 4 other families don't have bread. So their culture is based on support and respect for one another, but putting the other person first. It's not about belittling yourself. It's about considering the other. And, when we talk more about Kaizen, the characters that make up the word Kaizen is based on a self-change, but for the greater good of everyone. We change for the better, for the greater good of our team. So change is initiated from myself, but it's done for the purpose of the process in the team, not me. So those are the interesting things that come through when I lived there.
Yeah, great, Greg. That is most important. So everything should start from your end. It is for you. So I appreciate the team members who have joined today. It's not their company is sponsoring or their company is asking to attend this kind of program. So
Yeah.
this is the first step. I started my presentation with the chain of position, wherein we started with survival of individual, and then survival of business. So these 3 things, and then will to survive, my will to survive. So Japan, what I believe is these journeys started after post World War II. World War
Yes.
II was the one kind of initiation in each and every quality aspects. If we talk about, everything started after post World War. Actually, World War
Mm.
II, I mean, military standards started, then standardization, ISO, and everything. All these standards are coming into the picture only after post World War II. So it is a need, will to survive, will to survive. Japan
Yes.
was actually completely broken in World War II. They lost, and then they lost a lot of people. But that will of creating something, changing something, and implementing these learnings. Now, Toyota is, we can say, number one brand in automotive now.
Mm.
We talked about a video. I hope you have watched it at start of my this session. So there was a
Mm.
case study which is, I always say this because I quoted that particular sentence that perfection is illusion. Even after having so much of experience, discipline with Toyota, employee engagement and everything, and they have a culture of quality, but
Yeah.
still they had to recall around 90 lakh cars in 2009 for the issues related to floor mat and braking system. So,
Yes.
I would like to know about, you might be working that time with Toyota. So you might be knowing some kind of details or some kind of how they treated it, how they solved this particular problem, and what was the your your company, what you are discussing, what you are thinking about this particular problem. No, I have
So
actually in video you can see there was like
yes.
they said in video it has shown that employee engagement was less and all that, but I don't think it is the root cause. Could be a different cause. How you looked at that particular problem when you were there with Toyota?
In fact, very interesting, Praveen, is that I was based in Japan at the time of that incident in 2009. And strangely enough, I was based in a design quality department at the time. It was called Saihatsu Boshi, that means recurrence prevention. So we had a design department. So at Technical Center in the video, it had a snapshot of a 15-story building. That was the headquarters, but the design center was right next to it. So during that time, of course, you can imagine the hype and the attention that design level was getting around this very critical time of this quality concern. And of course, the Americans, the president then, Mr. Akio Toyoda, was placed in front of the US Senate and he had to answer a lot of questions. And if you
Right.
remember those videos, and it's on YouTube. But
Yeah.
to answer your question, there was a lot of things going on around that time. The first point was taking responsibility. And I think that's what your video also made mention very clearly, is taking ownership. We've got to develop a culture in our organizations, and I call it the DNA of your culture. It's the discipline and the accountability. That must be made clear, and it must kind of come through strongly in a business culture. When anything goes wrong, we will be accountable. We are accountable to our customers, we are accountable to our stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders. So I think Toyota as a company was very respectfully decided to do that. And that was the right thing to do, is to bow down and say, we are sorry and we will fix it. Irrespective of the cost, you had a responsibility. People had entrusted you for the safety of their lives and their families, but you messed up and they acknowledged it. And then what went on from there is that every design was scrutinized right down, everything. Even if it was the Lexus that was in question, they started to look at models throughout their product range, and they call it the concept of Yoko 10. Yoko 10 is looking laterally and evaluating laterally all the possible areas of failure and checking it once, checking it twice to ensure that the test results did meet the desired standards. And of course, with that particular accelerator pedal issue, it was the multiple factors that contributed to it, a mechanical fault, loose carpets. Now you'll find that every driver's seat, every Toyota vehicle will have little sort of buttons that hold down your carpet in the driver's area. It is a standard design principle that no carpet will be able to move within the floor mat area in the driver's, because that also contributed to an error. So once again, we were able to sustain something and then standardize. You can see the PDCA thinking coming through, and as we also spoke on the DMAIC, you'll see the standardize and sustain. We have to change something, standardize it, and be able to continuously doing it. And the culture to do that takes a team effort as a whole. And I think that's a big learning point from that episode.
Yes. And that's why Toyota is different. They actually preach, or they teach you, first they implement lead by example. So it is starting from Mr. Toyota to the complete industry, I'll say. That's why they are different. Greg, thank you for this particular explanation, because I was having these questions every time I ask why, because Toyota has got so much of experience, so much of discipline. They are known for discipline, right? To follow the processes and everything, but still they could make mistakes, errors, and it passed to customers. So, as you said, the quality of accepting and saying it as human variation, wherever human activity is there, you will find some kind of variation, some kind of errors will be there. The only thing is how you're correcting it, how you are improving it. That's that makes you different from others.
Correct. Yeah.
So my next question, Greg, would be related to how do you see South Africa industry, South African culture, South African young engineers, upcoming industries and upcoming generation? Because you have been training, giving training to these engineers, shop floor guys, frontline management, and companies there at South Africa. So, what is your experience about this particular consulting business and training part in South Africa?
Yeah, Praveen, one of the main things that kind of come through when we run our sessions is that people do not plan well. They do not spend enough time planning. And planning, Abraham Lincoln said, is if you give me 6 hours to cut down tree, I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening my axe. And I think the South African culture, as much as business is sustainable, there's a huge SMME sector, small business, which contributes to a large percentage of the economy. And these are young entrepreneurs that are coming into the business sort of sector. And I find one of the things that they lack is time management and the ability to plan well. I hear it often, and it's not something uncommon, is that I don't have time to plan because I'm always doing a whole lot of things. My day is full. I'm fighting fires. And that the problem lies therein, is that you're fighting fires because you're not planning well. So plan well, take some time to plan well, and plan for risk and plan for contingency. And then you are guaranteed success within a certain time. I stood before a Japanese guy once, and I was presenting to senior management, and he said, "Greg-san, why do you plan?" And I said, "Well, I want to make sure that my project, is done within the certain time." And he said, "Yes, because if you don't plan well, you're not guaranteed of success, and you may not finish it at the time that you are saying you will finish." And how often do we skip deadlines, or we move the goalpost, as we say? In South Africa, it's a normal thing, shift the goalpost. But in a Toyota sort of environment, you never shift the goalpost. It's fixed. you meet that timing. You do whatever you can. So when you announce a deadline, it's taken for granted that you have done the necessary planning to ensure that the time that you've announced is the time that would have considered everything for you to do. So if you don't plan well, you're now moving that goalpost, and then it makes it difficult for people to believe you the next time you announce, I'm going to give you that report at 6 o'clock, or I'm going to finish this by certain times. They're going to say, oh no, I don't believe this guy. So it's the business kind of culture and ethic that come in here. So the Japanese guide you in terms of planning. Have you considered this? And there's different problem solving techniques that how will you recognize when things will go wrong, or have you planned if this happens? So one of the things we used to do is from a time management is to ensure that we build in sufficient amount of time that we are able to do things within that based on the project. And we've considered all factors. And I guess if you document it, because as we plan, we write down things. It's the PDCA cycle that comes through. And then we do what we planned. But then we have to check. It's an assessment. It's a self-reflection. Is that, did we do what we had planned? What else did we do? Because there's so many variations and variables that come into play. Sometimes we end up doing a whole lot of different things. So the checking part is very important of what did we do right and what went right and what went wrong. But the last part is the acting upon it, is where do I write this down? Where do I document it so that the next time when I plan, I take into consideration what I learned on the previous cycle. And that's where Toyota is very good at. They document things. And that's the intrinsic knowledge that they have, such that Greg Naidu, who decides to leave after 28 years, nobody misses him.
Correct.
The business still runs. Yes, because the
that's
business
the beauty.
Yes, the business retains that knowledge, and it gets better and better and better. It doesn't get perfect, and they'll be the first to tell you they haven't got it right. Even as the foundational for lean, but they'll tell you they haven't got it right. So PDCA cycle must come through a lot. And here in South Africa is one of the key and the most simple things to do, but we don't do it. So I tend to emphasize that a lot in my training. Plan well.
Thanks, Greg. Very happy to know about the South African culture and Toyota culture, how they are different. One more point, last question from my side, Greg. What will be your message to young engineers? Because I have actually I was fortunate to work with Bridgestone. Again, it's not Toyota only, but if you work with any Japanese company, you will see the difference. I have worked with Bridgestone as a customer. I used to deal with them here in Pune, Indore. And I have seen huge difference between Indian companies and Japanese companies. So, as you said, discipline, planning, these two characteristics are very, very important. Third, my question to you is, I would like to, what kind of message you will give? What kind of, what they should do, because these young engineers are just trying to enter into the industry. And then there are in our group also today we have some it has this particular group is varying from young engineers including students. There are few students who have joined. They are like last year students. And then few people are like they have got 30-35 years of experience in industry in this particular group. So my question is, what 2-3 things which are most important in career upgradation, skill upgradation, and personal growth, for personal growth, what you will suggest?
Interesting question, and I'll tell you what I reminded a recent group that had come that we were doing some training at. I reminded them that most decisions taken about us are taken when we are not in the room. whether you are applying for a new job, whether you're applying for a new portfolio at that new job, or an increase in salary, or whether you are going to the bank to apply for a loan to buy a car or buy a house, the major decisions about our lives are taken when we are not present. And that's a very kind of sobering thought, because how then do we ensure that people take the right decisions about us? And it's not necessarily related to age, right, or experience, because sometimes we don't realize this and we get into a certain sort of culture and a way of working. We just got to sometimes press the reset button and just, or a pause button to say, what am I doing? And are people making the right decision about me? And especially if we are going to be able to project ourselves well enough when we are not in the room so that people make accurate decisions about us, then I'm going to say, you've got to be able to firstly learn more. Learning must never stop. It's a lifelong process. It's not related to age or how long you're in, but it's lifelong. And so if we have a thirst for knowledge, and when we aspire to constantly learn from people around us, some people will move away from, because sometimes we don't like to be involved in certain circles. And in a business, you may not find that this manager is a person to kind of work with. There's different dynamics that come into the workplace. But I encourage people to learn from everyone, because some you would learn how to be like, and some you'd learn for how not to be like. Either way, you learn from people. And when you come into contact with a person, there's always a reason why. And we spoke about this at some point. It's coincidence is not in my vocabulary. Nothing happens by it. If somebody is placed in front of you, there's a reason why they're there. Either they feed you or they eat you. So
Correct.
You've got to be the person. When you walk away from that conversation or that training session, you've got to be able to become a better person. And if you're not, you're going to remain in your comfort zone. Comfort zone, nobody grows. And so I encourage people is to take a step out of that comfort zone. Start to move into a fear zone. The fear zone is unknown, but remember, it's unknown because we haven't ventured into those sort of learning areas before. Do it anyway, and assess the risks, but do it. It's only then that you start to expand your comfort zone. That's when your learning really starts. And if you have this concept or this culture of continuously learning, then you realize how little you know. It's amazing. The greatest minds of the planet, as they got more and more advanced and knowledge, they realized how little they know. So that's one of the key things I'd like to leave with people that are looking to do something different, because you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You got to do something different. And if you're learning something, that learning has to make a difference in your daily activities. Otherwise, you've learned it for an hour, a day, and it's gone. You've got to do something different until it becomes a culture and a habit, and then it's sustainable. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. That's really a great answer, I say. We discussed about this point of coincidence and all that. The team, we met 1 month back, Mr. Greg, and we virtually, and now we are good friends. It's all about, we were talking about why we are meeting. Why now you can tell you, I can tell you, team, everyone. Greg is spending so much time with us. He's trying to like giving his insights, his experience, sharing all this knowledge with us. Is he's not expecting anything out of it. It is just to share this particular knowledge, and he has got a passion after having so much of experience getting he has worked in many senior management roles, and he quit the job and started his own training and consulting firm at South Africa, and currently he is giving this particular knowledge to the next generation youth entrepreneurs and in South Africa. So sir, as I told you, Greg, there is one, I believe in Sai Baba. Okay, as a Sai Baba is Sadhguru here in India. So it's a god. Okay. So he has clearly mentioned one particular sentence when he was alive to his disciples or his followers, that it is in Marathi. I'll just quote it for all the Marathi speaking participants. He said, "Nasल्या लागा बांधा काही कुणीही कुठेही जातची नाही." So there is some kind of relationship between each one of you. Now Greg is in Durban, South Africa. I'm here in Pune. Few people are joining us from north side of India. Some people are from south side of India, and we are meeting today. Is is everything is all about there is a relationship. Someone is, as you said, someone is coming to feed you or eat you. So giving and taking is the life. So someone is giving you, and someone is taking from you. So everything is related to karma, and that's what we are talking, right? So we are trying to give back to society. We want to give it to the society so that this giving will turn into taking. So I completely agree that the thrust of learning, will to survive, will to survive is the message from this particular conversation. Thank you, Greg. I'll just give it back to the team now. Everything is we have done with the session. We are concluding the session, but if anyone wants to have any question, just put it into the chat box so that we can take these questions for next 5 minutes and then we'll conclude the session. Any questions you can ask in chat box so that there will not be any mess. Everyone is unmuting and then talking. So it is better you please put it into the chat box so that we can take these questions. Yeah. Any questions for Greg or for me? Questions are welcome. Okay. So I believe there is no question.
Did I frighten everybody then?
Can we take special session for students? Yes, we will do it, sir. If it is required, we will do it. Mr. Dr. Danadev Shinde has asked, can we take it special session for students? We'll do it. And Mr. Greg is our good friend now, and he will be available wherever we call him as a guest speaker. I can
Sure.
count on him. And on behalf of on behalf of Greg, I'm giving this confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. Roy.
yeah. Share any practical approaches? Yes, we will share that in our next session. We have planned yellow belt and green belt programs. Lakshmakanji, we will definitely share our detailed presentation in that. Practical approaches, yes, because uh, due to time constraints, we cannot discuss more details of practical approaches. But we will definitely cover it in our Lean Six Sigma, Yellow Belt, and Green Belt programs. Yes. So I believe there are no questions, and we can very well conclude this session. Thank you. Thank you very much for the attendance. Thank you for the participation in this particular program. We are grateful to all the participants joining from throughout India and abroad. And thank you to Mr. Greg. It was really a great session. Thank you. Thank you for your sharing experiences. Thanks. So we are concluding the meeting. Thank you. Thanks.